Read the newspapers and you'd be convinced that church congregations are dwindling, with pews emptying at an alarming rate. But Songs of Praise proves the cynics wrong. And although some people may think that churches are a dying breed, there's something very special about coming together and worshipping God and singing as part of a congregation. After all, it's at the heart of what we do here on Songs of Praise. So on the show this week, I'll be revealing what actually happens when we come to town, and I'll let you in on the little secret of how we pack our churches out week after week. This week I'm visiting a congregation that can't stop growing, discovering the power of a congregation in Belfast, and I'm meeting one man who had a life-changing moment when he came to a Songs of Praise recording. It's one of the most commonly asked questions on Songs of Praise. Why, when I watch your programme, is the church so full? It's not normally like that. Well, do you really want to know? It's not just the congregation of that particular church that turns up to sing. We have the privilege of bringing together a much wider and varied group of people, local schools and choirs, and nearby church congregations of all denominations. Many have never set foot in that particular church before, and the voices joined together give us a great sound. On Songs of Praise we visit some of the smallest churches to the largest cathedrals. St George's Chapel in the grounds of Windsor Castle was a real highlight. The castle and chapel see 1 million tourists through the doors every year. But until you come along to worship and sing with the local congregation, you can't wholly appreciate that it's a living and breathing place of worship, where every Sunday people come together and sing great hymns. Take Jerusalem, for example, sung by generations of the royal family and their subjects. William Blake's words really do seem to come alive when performed at the Royal St George's Chapel. Sometimes it's difficult to achieve really great things on our own, and by joining together we become a force to be reckoned with. When Eamonn Holmes went back home to Belfast, he met up with the community, literally fighting for their church.
This is Garmoyle Street, and Garmoyle Street was the main artery of Sailor Town. It was the highway that ferried the seamen to ships, dockers to boats, and mill workers to the daily grind. But it was also a path of pilgrimage for the faithful, and they were looking for St Joseph's Chapel just over there. St Joseph's was built in 1872 to anchor the faith of the people of the Docklands. Over the past few decades, the area surrounding the church has been demolished and the congregation scattered all over Belfast. Time and distance hasn't diminished the strength of this community, however, and when rumours first emerged in 2000 that the Catholic Church was planning to close St Joseph's and sell it off to developers, the spirit of the docks returned to salvage what was once the very heart of its being. Pat Benson is chairman of the Sailor Town Regeneration Group and a leading member of the campaign to save the church. The strength of feeling about this church closing down and wanting to keep it alive has been incredible.
Yes.
Why has that been?
Well, St Joseph's was the rock of Sailor Town, you know, and the people of Sailor Town were very supportive of the church, but they just didn't want the church to close. When the last Mass was said in 2001, angry parishioners refused to abandon the church and took their protest to the steps of St Joseph's, where they began a long and unwavering vigil which was to continue for many years. It was very, very difficult, a hard struggle over those 9 years. And a lot of the people in the area and people from outside the area stood on those steps through wind and cold, and they just decided that they were not going to be beaten. And at times you thought you were hitting your head against a brick wall. It was never going to be solved. You were never going to get anywhere. The hard work and heartfelt faith of the people was rewarded last year when the Catholic Church relented and granted a 50-year lease, handing St Joseph's back to the community.
What are you going to do with the church now that you've got it?
It will be probably used for community use. You know, there's no facilities in this area at all. It's in the people's hands, and the people will decide what will become of it.
But you're fighting against the tide, aren't you? I mean, you're talking about a community, but is there still a community here?
Well, technically speaking, no, but there will be come August. We have 68 social units opening in August, September, which will bring a lot of families back.
Pat, I'm looking at the old in the form of the church against the new. Do you think they can mix?
I think they can mix, definitely. It's only a matter of people getting together and working to better the area.
Looking at what you're trying to do and looking at the whole history of the fight to keep this community alive, a lot of it is dependent on faith. Would you agree?
They have a strong faith. They're very, very much a faithful community. People are still coming here on Sunday morning and having their prayer service. St Joseph's has always been a very, very important part of Sailor Town. It's the most historic building in Sailor Town, and it's been around 132 years. And we really do want St Joseph's to be a part of the future of Sailor Town. It will always be there.